Hello lads and lasses and welcome back to the channel. Today we have got more transfer news, which is good stuff. We love us some transfer news over here on the channel. Just moving some things about, don't worry about it. Yes, we have some transfer news. We've got a little bit of a transfer update on left backs. So not centre back, but I mean after hearing what I've heard today, and I'm sure you have in the past, literally half an hour fantastic news that we could be hearing. And there's also an outgoing possibly going through. Before we get into any of that though, I'll ask this now. If you're new around here, or if you've been here quite a few times, go down below, consider hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 200 by the end of the year, so we've got 3.5 months to do that ish. Now let's get into this video. I've tried to record this 3 different times. It was at Lee's Park. I ended up looking like this, right? And then I recorded this video at home, and then I hopped on Twitter for a moment, and we had gotten news that we might be hijacking the Lewis Hall deal. Isn't that great? I've already recorded the video, and now we're hijacking Lewis Hall. So we'll talk about it again. First, though, I'll quickly, very, very quickly, Ryan Fraser looks to be on a move to Celtic. Great, that's that. Lovely. The news we care about now, Lewis Hall. So after him again, and apparently we might actually be able to get him this time. Obviously, Chelsea signing Caicedo, they're signing Lavia now for 50, 60 plus add-ons. Lavia wants to go to Chelsea rather than Liverpool, so they are going to have to sell some a couple players to be able to comply with the FFP, because it's kind of a joke how much they've spent, and I don't know where they're getting all this money from. So they might sell Lewis Hall to us for £30 million, which I would not mind at all, considering what we would be paying for the other 2 left backs. So yeah, we may be able to hijack this deal. He hasn't signed a new deal with Chelsea yet. He hasn't signed the deal with Palace because he hasn't been able to sign the deal with Chelsea yet. It is a source from The Sun. I can't remember his name. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll find it. Alan Nixon from The Sun has reported that we are hijacking this deal for £30 million. Probably everyone's first choice left back at the moment. Why wouldn't we want to sign him? I think it would be a great signing and much better than the other 2 people we're potentially wanting to sign. Much cheaper as well. The other 2 are on loan to buy basis, Cucurella and Kieran Tierney. Not going to talk about them as much now because they're looking like second and third option. If we don't get Lewis Hall, which I still think we might not, I still think there's a chance Chelsea some way, somehow work out a way to not give us a player. I wouldn't be surprised. Then Kieran Tierney would be my second option. As long as we don't have to buy him for £35 million, we can loan to buy him for maybe 20. I think that would be all right. Cucurella, I don't want at all. He's not good. He's a wing back. He plays well in a 5 back. So if we did eventually go into a 3 at the back formation, if we brought another centre back in, which is something we actually need to do, then he could play then. But we don't. We play a 4 at the back. So Cucurella's awful. His defence, it's like signing DeMarco. If you want a wing back who is better offensively, yes, sign DeMarco, sign Cucurella. If you actually want someone to defend, don't sign either of those players. They're awful defensively. DeMarco showed it against City in the Champions League final. Cucurella shows it all the time whenever I've seen him play. He's awful defensively. Kieran Tierney has injury problems. That's probably the worst thing about him. He's 26, going into his prime, bit injury prone. Yeah, so if we're not signing him for 35 mil, I think that signing would be fine. But Lewis Hall, now on the radar. It could happen. I mean, the person who's reported on it isn't that reliable from what I've heard. He's not got a lot right about Newcastle. He reports on a lot of stuff, but Newcastle being something he struggles with, apparently. But it could happen. I hope it does. I'm hoping to hear some good news tomorrow, not after I edit this video, and we find out that we've signed. I'm so annoyed. I'm just annoyed. Anyways, I still think we would need a right-sided centre-back more than we need a left-back. But it is what it is, isn't it? If we get a left back, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure we could go maybe half a season without another centre back potentially. I still think we need someone. We could potentially look to loan a centre back in instead of a left back, which would be useful. That wouldn't be awful news. But yeah, that's the left back situation now. Lewis Hall looks to be front runner. Kieran Tierney is my number 2, and then Cucurella can be binned off along with Anderson. What an awful link that is. In other news, we are apparently ready to offer something for Rollhighs. I talked about this the other week. 23-year-old Argentine winger, right hand side. Wouldn't be an awful pickup, but it's looking less and less like that would make that deal if the Lewis Hall news is in fact true. If not, I can see that happening along with a centre back. We need a centre back desperately, and we are not signing one. It's getting beyond ridiculous. I genuinely think if we're going to be stuck with no other right-sided centre back going into this season, which is not good. It's awful, very, very poor. Oh well, I guess we'll see how the season goes. I mean, it's gone fine so far, but we played one game. We play City next on Saturday. That'll be an actual challenge. We'll see if we can actually nick a result there. There's a possibility we do. I still think we'll lose it. I think out of the next 5 games, someone on Twitter was saying, how many points do we get from these 5 games? I predict we're going to get 10. We lose against City, we draw against Liverpool, and we win the other 3 games. But yes, that is it for now. Hopefully there's no other spanners in the work. Otherwise, I'm going to find a horse and punch it, just like is the Newcastle way. Grand. I'll see you in another video soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully not later this afternoon. Yes, that's all now. In a bit, pals.